the banks are clever. They realize that if things go badly, one of the things that they're going to need the most help with is security. So there is a New York City Police Foundation, and they've decided that, hey, you know what? Might not be such a bad idea to donate a lot of money to that to make sure the cops are on our side. You know, there was a chant during the Occupy Wall Street movement that said, NYPD, NYPD, JP Morgan doesn't give a fuck about you. Okay, now JP Morgan wants to show that they do. Now, this is not something that they did recently. Understand that they did this last year through the spring of this year, so before Occupy Wall Street movement. But it's for the same reason. It doesn't matter. They saw, hey, look, if we keep taking all this money and we don't contribute anything to society except a tremendous risk that destroys our economy eventually, some people might get pissed. So it might help to have the New York Police Department behind us. So how much did JP Morgan give to them through last year and this year? $4.6 million. Hey, NYPD, we're on your side, man. We're on your side. But they're not alone. Here's a list of the financial institutions that gave over $100,000 to the same police foundation. Goldman Sachs, Barclays Capital, investment bank Jefferies and Company, investor Carl Icahn, investment firm the Renko Group, and Rupert Murdoch's News Corp, which is not a financial institution but also knows where its bread is buttered. Bank of America didn't make the list. They only gave $75,000. So what did the New York Police Foundation do with all this money? Well, don't worry, they're on the case. They hired Raymond Kelly, a very expensive publicist. Raymond Kelly, of course, is the police chief in New York, and he needs a good publicist. Look, everybody wins. The head of the police gets a nice publicist. The banks get more protection in case there is a movement, as it turns out there was later. Then they know, hey, we put up the barricades on Wall Street. And when a Huffington Post reporter asked the cops, hey, by the way, why can't the protesters go on this side of the barricades, on this sidewalk? The cops never gave a legal answer. Okay, could it be that they've gotten all this money to protect those exact people? In a sense, what they're doing here is they're privatizing the police force. Yeah, you get your certain amount of money, but you know what? On top of that, we grease the top guys. I don't know where else the New York Police Foundation spends their money, except I do know one other thing that Raymond Kelly gets. He got a posh party at the Harvard Club, and the Police Foundation paid tens of thousands of dollars for food and liquor there. I hope they enjoyed themselves at the Harvard Club. And then, gee, I wonder which side Raymond Kelly's on. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So they pay for that protection, and it turns out it was a smart move on their part, because when now you have the riffraff, whether they're violent or not violent is irrelevant, okay? Then make sure you put their asses down, okay? Meaning, if you need to put barricades where they don't need to be, put up the barricades. If you need to pepper spray them and you need to teach them a couple lessons with your batons, hey, that's the orders you give on down the chain. I'm not blaming the cops that are on the street doing what their police commissioner, et cetera, told them to do. I'm questioning, why does the police commissioner care that much? Could it be the money that he's getting from that police foundation that hires him the publicists and those fancy parties? Let me ask you this. Do you at least think it's relevant? Do you think Raymond Kelly thinks, all that liquor and the free food and the publicist I got, I don't need it. No, that doesn't affect my decision at all. Yeah, I'm not as sure, okay? So, look, money always matters. That's the problem, and that's the incentives. In fact, the funny thing is, that's exactly what Occupy Wall Street's trying to point out, that if you take these banks and they give the money to the politicians or government officials like Ray Kelly, hey, could that create a conflict of interest where you don't look out for the 99%, you look out for the top 1%? Of course it could, and in this case, I think there are legitimate questions.